The Cambodian Incursion of 1970 was a major military operation carried out during the Vietnam War, primarily by the United States and South Vietnam, aimed at destroying North Vietnamese and Viet Cong sanctuaries located just across the border in Cambodia. To understand why it happened, we need to step back and look at the broader context of the war. Throughout the 1960s, North Vietnamese forces and the Viet Cong had been using eastern Cambodia as a logistical hub and safe haven. Through a complex supply network known as the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which ran through Laos and Cambodia, they transported troops, weapons, and supplies into South Vietnam. Although Cambodia under Prince Norodom Sihanouk had officially declared neutrality, in practice, North Vietnamese forces were allowed to operate in remote border areas, creating a situation that deeply frustrated American and South Vietnamese military leaders. By 1969 and 1970, the United States, under President Richard Nixon, was pursuing a policy called Vietnamization, which aimed to gradually withdraw American troops while strengthening South Vietnamese forces so they could take over the fighting. However, Nixon and his administration believed that as long as enemy sanctuaries in Cambodia remained intact, the war effort in South Vietnam would be undermined. In March 1970, a dramatic political shift occurred in Cambodia when Prince Sihanouk was overthrown in a coup led by General Lon Nol. The new Cambodian government adopted a more openly anti-communist stance and was more willing to cooperate with the United States and South Vietnam. This political change opened the door to direct military action inside Cambodian territory. On April 30, 1970, President Nixon announced that American and South Vietnamese forces had begun operations against communist bases in Cambodia. The stated objective was not to invade or occupy the country permanently, but to destroy enemy headquarters, supply depots, and command centers that were believed to be coordinating operations in South Vietnam. The incursion involved tens of thousands of South Vietnamese troops, supported by American ground forces and heavy air power. They targeted areas such as the so-called Parrot Beak and Fishhook regions along the border, where intelligence indicated large concentrations of North Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong infrastructure. Militarily, the operation achieved some immediate results. Large caches of weapons and supplies were captured, and several base areas were disrupted. American officials claimed that the incursion bought time for Vietnamization by weakening enemy capabilities and delaying planned offensives. However, many North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces had already anticipated the attack and moved deeper into Cambodia, limiting the long-term impact of the operation. The political consequences were profound and far-reaching. In the United States, the announcement of the Cambodian incursion sparked massive protests, as many Americans had believed Nixon was reducing the war rather than expanding it into another country. Demonstrations erupted on college campuses across the nation, culminating in tragic events such as the Kent State shootings, where National Guard troops killed 4 students during a protest. Internationally, the incursion destabilized Cambodia even further. The conflict expanded inside the country, strengthening the radical communist movement known as the Khmer Rouge. Over the next few years, Cambodia descended into full-scale civil war. Ultimately, in 1975, the Khmer Rouge seized power, leading to one of the most devastating genocides of the 20th century. In retrospect, historians debate the effectiveness and consequences of the Cambodian incursion. Some argue it temporarily disrupted enemy operations and gave South Vietnam a strategic advantage. Others contend that it widened the war, intensified domestic opposition in the United States, and contributed significantly to Cambodia's tragic collapse. What is clear is that the 1970 incursion marked a pivotal moment in the Vietnam War, illustrating the complex interplay between military strategy, domestic politics, and regional instability in Southeast Asia, and showing how actions intended to secure one front of the war could unleash unintended and catastrophic consequences elsewhere.